It's 4th and 15. Y'all get to the couch. We got to blow this thing up. You go long, Tony. You go for a slant. Y'all let it go, 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 go. It's Saturday morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is a starting lineup. And we're bringing you college football like you've never heard it before. If you're thinking a party, it's 100% Tony Curry, 100% Kip Keefer, and 100% the legend. Because we got Keefer and Vegas. It's a wild Saturday morning, baby. Get ready to pop. The starting lineup starts now.
Good morning. Welcome again to the starting lineup here every Saturday morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock on ABC 3340. I saw as we walked in the main door, I think the countdown is 58 days, 17 hours, 6 minutes, and something seconds until the first SEC on ABC football game is coming up. Of course, that's going to be that Tennessee game coming up. So we are getting nitty-gritty close, and of course, we cannot wait to talk college football. We're going to get into some of it today. Kip, Keefer, Tony, Curry, welcome to starting lineup. Case Keefer going to be joining us here live in the desert. The legend is back.
Yep, the legend is back off the IL, and
we got a lot of emails. Thanks to the thousands and thousands of well-wishers and emails from people saying, "Where's Legend? What's going on with the man? Is he okay?"
Team of medical professionals brought him back.
Someone said they saw a Legend's private jet in an airport in Oklahoma or something. And I said, "Is he moving on? Is he going to some other television?" I said, "No, we still got him. He's good. We just had some contractual issues, but I think we got that worked out." But yeah, you posed the question going into this Saturday morning. Give me 5 deadbolt, in your face, no way they can lose shots at rocking a spot in the 12-team playoff. And I thought to myself, okay, this is going to be really boring. Because I think we can pick 5 or 6 right off the top of our heads, right?
It's not as easy as you think.
It really isn't. It really isn't. Because in some cases you have a chance to lose maybe 1 game. Certainly in the SEC you could lose 2. But when you're thinking of, first of all, why did you pick 5?
I was going to go 6 at half the field.
Yeah.
But there's 5. The format's been tinkered with a little bit. There's still going to be 5 mandatory teams who win their conference of the 4 major conferences, which is debatable. I think there's only 2 majors, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But that includes the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, and SEC. And on the best conference winner, the highest ranked of the other group of 5 other conferences, is also an automatic. So the 5 automatics, I was kind of intrigued to see if people, given that exercise, are going to try to pick the 5 that will be mandatory, or if they're going to just pick 5 that they just feel like will be in the field. So I think that's going to be interesting to see. We're going to have Case weigh in on that from out in Vegas. We'll have you and I and Legends. So we'll have a good cross-section of opinions, and I'm really looking forward to hearing how that comes out.
Out of your 5, how many SEC teams you have? Just tell me. I don't want to give it away because it's going to be great, but how many SEC teams you got?
Believe it or not, I've got 4 for sure, and I'm waffling on the other 2, and it's going to be a game-time decision for me when we get to that part of the show.
And again, these are just drop-dead, this is going to happen predictions.
These 5 are going to be just dead cinch locks.
And the reason we're doing this 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks out is because we're going to look back on this and go,
exactly.
You were 5 for 5, you were 5 for 5. Quite frankly, we should not be doing a television show talking college football if we can't nail at least 5, because there's 12 of them out there.
I thought that was a good number.
Would you say? So I mean, and so I would be a little different. I got with my son who knows everything about college football, and I picked a couple that they're not dark horses, but I still believe that they're going to have a great shot. One's probably going to blow you away. I only have 3. I do believe that Alabama will make it in, but I don't have them as my top 5. I don't have them as a slam dunk top 5. I want to see.
Interesting.
Well, I don't know enough about T. I don't know enough, quite frankly, about their coach. I know it's young. I saw the first year. It's not what I wanted to see. There were some games I was kind of head scratching myself.
You're not going to go back on the billboard again,
I am not going back on the billboard.
Okay, thank goodness, because they've lost a couple.
But I mean, I was into it up to here this morning at 4 o'clock in the morning doing research, and my kids are like, "What the hell are you doing up so early?" I'm like, "I'm getting ready for the opening drive. Getting ready to get up 4
I'm
o'clock
a taskmaster. I give Tony homework, so
I said, I'm getting ready for the starting line. And he's like, "It's 4 o'clock in the morning, dude. Go back to bed." And I was like, "Nope." I said, it took me back to my day, so I'm super excited about this and ready to go. What else is going on in the world of sports? We've got Wimbledon going on. Some upsets going on early in that. What else we got going on?
We're getting close to the All-Star break, which it's kind of when the baseball season really gets interesting, because we're just right after that, right up against the trade deadline. We're going to find out who's buyers and who's sellers. All of our teams of our favorite variety on the show. You're a big Cincinnati Reds guy.
Still in the hunt. They're 2.5 back. They're okay.
Francona's doing a nice job.
He's
there.
the only reason. He's the only reason that the Reds are above 500 right now. And I because everywhere he's gone, he's done really. As a matter of fact, earlier in the season, I got this from Case in a futures bet, 78.5 wins for the Cincinnati Reds. Obviously, they went under that last year. I took the over big time. I think they got to go 36-42 in their last 78 games or something to go with that.
That looks
so
good.
I feel pretty good about that. But I truly believe that a coach in baseball, whether it's Dusty Baker, ball coach, whoever, I think they're responsible for a good 10 to 15 wins a year.
It's no accident that a Joe Torre was so successful,
Absolutely.
or Bobby Cox in Atlanta, or
Bruce Bochy. I mean,
Earl Weaver back in the day in Baltimore. If a great manager is the difference of I think maybe 10 or 15 games a year.
And I also think that a lousy one could lose you 10 or 15 games.
Oh, there's no question about that.
And I'm looking back at this past week where I see the Pittsburgh Pirates shut out the St. Louis Cardinals 3 games in a row, which I don't think has happened like since the 1870s. And it's been a kind of a weird year. We've seen some of these things, and I still think we're going to see a lot of strange stuff.
Well, the Reds are like the Pirates. You get those good young arms, and the Reds just brought up this phenom kid who just dazzled the Yankees in his first start. That added to an already pretty deep starting pitching group. And the Reds have offense, so
they got this Steer kid who was the player of the week, 566, had a 3-home run game. The kid's hit, I think, 6 bombs in the last 8 games. Kid's unbelievable, and it's really fun to see that. The unfortunate things for small market teams is, you know what happens. You get a really good player like a McCutcheon for Pittsburgh. They sign him away, and then when he falls off a little bit, they bring him back, and he's on the downside of his career. And like a Dela Cruz, I don't expect him. I expect him to be with the Yankees within 2 years.
Yeah, the Braves are continuing to depress me because they just don't hit with runners in scoring position, and it drives you nuts.
I saw something on MLB Now on the Major League Baseball Network yesterday. Should they trade Acuna Jr., yes or no?
No. He's a franchise player. You don't do that. Plus, they've got him locked up at a very reasonable contract rate for 6 more years.
Yeah.
He signed a 10-year deal, and a lot of people said, "Are you crazy? He's only getting about $4.5 million a year." But when you're a 20-year-old phenom, that was a pretty good contract to sign. So contractually, one of the most dynamic players in the game. He's had injury problems, but you just don't unload him. But you can start looking at maybe being a seller this year on some other pieces because the team, I just don't think is going anywhere, and they've had awful pitching news the last 2 weeks. Their 2 best pitchers, Sale and Schwellenbach, both now out for
Schwellenbach was a huge loss.
Oh, gosh. That's just devastating. So, and Legends team, we got to mention the Orioles, who had a lot of hype going into the year. They're having huge pitching problems, and it's causing the Legend a lot of sleepless nights. I think he's up at 4 o'clock looking for transactions on the wire, hoping his Orioles have made some moves. So your team of the 3 of us is in the best position right now.
Well, they're all in the crapper. It'd be amazing. I think maybe 2 of them out of the 3 make the playoffs, but probably 1. And I don't know if it's going to be my Reds or not, but we'll see. All right, we are going to be checking in with a Legend here in a few minutes, so happy to have him back. We're going to be getting into the 5 deadlock teams we know are going to make the playoffs by the end of the show, as well as Case Keefer. He's going to give us his 5, which I cannot wait to hear because this guy is dead bolts on when it comes to futures bets. So make sure you're listening to the show. And, of course, go to K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. It's a website we do. It's a site where you can get a bunch of winners. It's a free site. You can also subscribe to it to go a little deeper into it. But check that out as well. And we'll be right back here in the starting lineup.
Feel the winning vibes at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where every step you take leads to excitement.
Bring on the good times. You don't want to miss this.
Top-notch games and a vibrant atmosphere. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the place to be. Another incredible win.
Where the winning never stops.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino. You can be a winner, too.
Southern Precision Staffing, I love those fine folks. They've been one of our great sponsors here in the starting lineup for about 3 years now. 205-682-2828 for all of your service needs when it comes to contract work. If you're a welder, you're a contractor, anything else, Southern Precision Staffing is the way to go. 205-682-2828. Well, your word and your handshake still means something. Kai, of course, runs that joint, and he's quite the handicapper himself. He's also on K4 Wins with us. He was going to join us today, but his son is back from the military for a couple days, so that's
God bless him for serving our country. Way to go, Gregory family and Kai's son.
Also, the Woodhouse Day Spa. A lot of people getting ready to go down to the beach, or they're just getting back from the beach. They want to keep that sun. They want to keep that tan. They want to keep those nails. Go to the Woodhouse Day Spa, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Stuart Rome and his fine folks right there in the Summit do fantastic work. And Sasquatch Toys and Comics. I've invited Seth to come on the last 6 weeks. And every week something comes up. This week he's in Tampa. He travels around the world looking for all these comics. He's got over 300,000 comics. They're off of Citation Lane in Homewood, Sasquatch Toys and Comics. What a great, you can walk in that place and spend days. You'll get lost in there. You need a GPS when you walk in their store. But it's amazing stuff. We love having Sasquatch Toys and Comics.
We've got a great website, as Tony's mentioned, k4wins.com. Check it out. We give you winners every single day, hitting at about a 65% clip against the spread. It's not just picking winners, it's picking games against the lines that you can cash in. You know, it's a lot of fun to engage in sports wagering and have some action on the game.
Yeah.
But, Tony, how much more fun is it when you win?
Oh, when you win, it's fantastic. And there's nothing better than being at the event and watching it come in. It's one thing standing at a sports book at Caesars or something like your son, which is great.
Oh,
Don't get me wrong, it's great
awesome.
when you have a good. But when you're at the game, if you're at a Las Vegas Knights game, or you're at a Braves game, or you're at a college football game, and you actually have a little dirt on it, man, it takes it to another level, dude. It's like, why is that guy so angry they missed that extra point?
I'm excited, Tony, because next Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 to 10, it is the season debut of Game Time on WJOX 94.5. And it's going to be fantastic this year. We have great information there. I was looking for some promo clips. I came across one from last year where Terry Quillian and I were talking about Alabama's sputtering offense before the LSU game.
Wow.
And Terry said, Alabama needs to get back to running the ball. Jalen Milroe is not a pocket passer. Turn him loose. That was pretty prophetic. He had 185 yards in that game and 4 touchdowns on the ground. And that's the kind of great information you get. So we've got a new slogan for Game Time this year. When Game Time talks, everyone listens.
There you go. And who would have thought that Milroe would have gone before Shedeur in the draft?
Unbelievable. We'll see how Jalen Milroe does in Seattle. But anyway, K4 wins, and don't miss the debut. Game Time every Saturday. SEC Media Days week after next. So it's here, boys and girls. It's going to be a great season.
Here we go, back again for another week of the Vegas Heaters. I'm Case Keefer, longtime sports bettor, sports betting writer, and assistant sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. Coming off another winning week last week, we kept it local here to Las Vegas, and as far as the bets, gave out a lot of plays on UFC 317. 4 plays, that is, to be honest, on the 4 top fights. 3-1. The only loss was a plus 220 underdog. Now, to be fair, I was the first one to tell you a couple weeks ago we had a plus 225 underdog. I think that just barely lost. I said it was a good bet. I'd make it again. This plus 220 underdog, Kai Kara France in the co-main event flyweight championship fight against Alexandre Pantoja was a terrible bet. He stood no chance in that fight, got totally smothered. I know it sounds like I'm kind of digressing, but sometimes I just like to dive into the process here. I think it's really important as a bettor to have that kind of self-analysis when you look back. So you can make a good plus 225 bet that loses. You can make a terrible plus 220 bet that loses. Last week, we fell on the terrible side, but cashed all the other 3, 2 short favorites, including Ilya Topuria by knockout at minus 150, 1 slight underdog, Beneil Dariush at plus 105, who rallied back to win it. So 9-3 since we, I think 5 cards ago, I just started looking at my P&L, my ROI. I said, man, I am just killing MMA this year. I need to start sharing into more avenues. I didn't know if it would be a great fit for this show, but hey, winning is a great fit. So 9-3 off this week in the UFC. We'll come back, try to keep this streak running, because I don't subscribe to a lot of gambling cliches, but I do think in a content thing like this, you don't want to leave when you're hot, so hopefully we can have some winners there. It's a short week with everything, so I'm going to try to reach today for a few picks. I'm going to keep with the theme, not here in Las Vegas, but how about the patriotic theme? 2 bets that I could give out, or at least 2 events I could talk about. What's a more American sport than NASCAR? We are at the Chicago street race, perhaps for the final time this week on Sunday. I believe it's called the Grant Park 150. I don't really know what to do with this one. I'm not rushing to bet it. Golf, one thing we've talked about over the years a lot on this segment. I feel like I'm really good in knowing what to do, when to sell, when to buy these really short favorites that no one wants to get on. I've been way worse on that kind of equation as far as goes to NASCAR. You go back to the last road race in Mexico City. I said on the show, let's try to beat Shane Van Gisbergen. Well, Shane Van Gisbergen won by like 10 seconds or something. It was just so much better than everyone else. Clearly the best road racer on the circuit right now, and he really got his start and why he came over to NASCAR full time. So 2 years ago, the first year of the Chicago road race, he just blew away the competition, was the best driver. I think that might happen again on Sunday here back in Chicago 2 years later. He did crash out and didn't finish last year. That being said, he's down to like 2-1 most places now. I couldn't bet the 2-1. I think if you can get plus 250 or better, I know some places opened as high as plus 350. I did jump on him there, to be honest. You can get plus 250, he's okay, but if it's 2-1, I might try to beat him. A couple guys I could look to beat him with. I would skip Christopher Bell at 7-1 as much as I like him. The clear second choice, that's a little too low for me, but then you go to the next couple guys, or at least in the group of the next couple guys, to the two ties, Tyler Reddick and Ty Gibbs, both at 12-1. Ty Gibbs has been outstanding in Chicago. Tyler Reddick, you know I pick him every week, especially in road races. I think both of them have a chance to do it, so if you're looking for a longer shot, those two guys. And if you can find a 250 or better, it's hard to go against Van Gisbergen here. He's probably going to qualify great too, and his odds are going to go down even further. So hopefully you check this out. Can bet a little bit on those prices. Also on Sunday, a sport I have never covered here. Yes, we're checking off another one. This really isn't just a homer pick, though. I got to be honest, I don't follow this sport a lot. I could care less about U.S. soccer long term, but they are going up against Mexico for the championship of the Gold Cup, the big CONCACAF tournament we have here with all the North American teams. And I think that, you just look at the scores, Mexico has been better on the tournament as a whole. But if you dive into any nuance and look at more advanced numbers, USA has just slightly been better. I feel like the kind of vibe in the market has been down on the Americans all the way going into the tournament, where I bet some futures on them to win it. You can get just as good of a price as me right now. At least there's only one sportsbook. This, at the time of recording, this matchup just got confirmed as the championship, even though it's basically always the championship and the Gold Cup. But I saw USA like plus 160. I'm just not sure that's right. USA, we don't have our A team. We don't have the team that's going to be playing at the World Cup next year, but neither does Mexico. A lot of these guys are playing in the Club World Cup you see going on here domestically right now. USA's found some diamonds in the rough as far as these young guys, Diego Luna, Malik Tillman, who's got the second highest transfer fee ever among Americans, going to Bayern Leverkusen next week. So I think USA has a really great chance to knock off Mexico. Even if soccer's not your favorite sport, I know you can root for the red, white, and blue this weekend. I really do like USA. Finally, we are going to, in the end of the show, give our 5 quote-unquote locks to make the college football playoffs. I hate the word locks, but in this case, I feel like it's kind of an excuse to be a little chalky. Go with the teams at the top of the betting board. I get to kick us off, so I believe I won the college football contest last year here on the show. Feel free to ridicule me if that's not sure. I know I had a lead going into the final couple weeks. I think I held on, but my 5 locks, I already talked about 2 teams I'm building my future portfolio around. Kind of second, third choices in their respective conferences. Penn State, Alabama, I will go with them. I'm going to go pretty chalky behind them. I got to go with Ohio State and Georgia, the 2 teams I like the best after those 2 in the Big Ten and the SEC respectively. I'm going to go with Notre Dame as my 5th lock. I think this team was really banged up last year. People forget. If CJ Carr is even a halfway decent quarterback, they are absolutely loaded this year. So Notre Dame for me, Georgia, Alabama, Penn State, Ohio State, my college football locks. Let's see what the rest of the guys got. Thanks for checking out Vegas Heaters.
Deadbolt locks there from Case Keefer. Anyone who watched the show here in the starting lineup knows when it comes to the word futures, there's no other guy to be listening to. He's unbelievable. And of course, he just gave us our 5 teams in college football that are dead nuts, right on the ball, going to make the playoffs. And of course, should be pretty easy. We shouldn't be doing a show if we can't nail at least 4 of the 5.
Yeah, you would
5
hope.
Because there's 7 other ones that we are not even mentioning.
But when you look at schedules, it's tougher than you think. Because there's always the name brands, but this is not necessarily who's going to get in the playoff.
Legend, you're in the mix. Give me your first one.
Last year it was Ohio State that spent the fortune to make the playoffs. This year's it's Texas. I'm locking in Texas. I'm a believer. They are a lock.
Since you're going with Texas, I'm going to hop on board that Texas as well. Of course, they have Ohio State and Georgia on the road, but Arch Manning, of course, everyone's talking about him being the Heisman Trophy guy, and we haven't even seen him throw his first pitch yet. I realize, listen, he's had some playing time, but it's that name Manning, so I'm going to go with Texas as well.
Well, I guess just to not save them for later, they were kind of my bottom one of this group. I think Texas does get in just because of their schedule, and I think a big part of their success last year was their schedule. If you're not familiar with it, the SEC this year is playing the exact same slate of teams in the conference they played last year. They'll just play them on the road or at home, flip the other way. Texas's SEC schedule is weak. It is, yes, they have some difficult, a couple of difficult road tests, but they play all the what you kind of would think are the bottom feeders in the league, and I think they're going to have a good enough record at 10-2 against the SEC competition. They're going to be in.
Your second one.
Alabama Crimson Tide will have the best team in the nation on the defensive side of the ball, returning 7 starters. It's just not the Crimson Kool-Aid. This is one of the most talented teams in the nation. Coach DeBoer knows he's got to get it done. He gets it done. Lock in Alabama, ladies and gentlemen.
He's got a brand new deal with an NHL. That's it with the Grecian formula thing. We're talking Ryan Day. Let me tell you what, the beard is just too doggone dark. It's just too dark. The guy's only lost 2 games 3 times, 1 game the other 3 times. He's a great coach. He's lost to Michigan 4 times now. Jeremiah Smith, of course, is one of their star wide receivers, has come out and said, I will not lose to Michigan again. Ever. I'm never going to lose to Michigan again. Of course, they got Texas and Penn State at home. They do have Michigan on the road. And they got this brand new quarterback, Julius Sands, everyone's saying is going to be throwing the ball all over the football field. I think this is the year Ryan Day finally beats Michigan. Ohio State will get in as a top 5 there in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to go to an unlikely place in the ACC because they get still mandatory team. Whoever wins the conference in the ACC, the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC is an automatic to get in the field. And I'm going to go, popular choice probably, because Tony's son goes there. I think the Clemson Tigers are going to be, looking at their schedule, I think they're going to win the ACC this year. I don't know if they're really going to stack up against the Big 10 and SEC playoff teams, but I think the Clemson Tigers, that shade of orange is going to be decorating the playoffs.
Since you mentioned, I'm going to go right on top of it as well. I'm going to go with the Clemson Tigers. Pro Football Focus has 6 of the top 10 possession groups named for Clemson. That's how good this team is. Finally, Klubnik, we're going to find out what a quarterback he finally is. I think
he's getting a lot of hype, and I think he's been good, but I don't know if he's really worth all the hype.
TJ Moore is a 5-star guy they got in. This is fantastic. The schedule's super easy coming back. They have LSU at home. They have FSU at home. They have 67 of their 73 scholarship players coming back. There is a ton of players coming back for Dabo's team, so I like the Clemson Tigers to get it done. Give me your next one.
And you just mentioned that LSU-Clemson game. I think the loser of that game is in big trouble.
I think
Both
you're
of
right.
those aspire to the playoffs. I think the winner puts themselves in position. The loser is in trouble.
Dead on. Go ahead.
I'm going to lock in the Miami Hurricanes. I'm going against my brothers. I believe in their knowledge, but I also believe in Carson Beck. Mike Bobo just blew him up last year, had us thinking he'll going left, going right, but he don't have Mike Bobo calling the plays this year. Give me Carson Beck to blow up, have a top 10 draft pick next year, and lead Miami, ladies and gentlemen. Past the fake and fraudulent Dabo Swinney's.
Is Gunnar Stockton the next quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs? Can he take him the next? You know, the last few quarterbacks they've had there, man, was like talked about how great they are, then they kind of fall off halfway through the season. You understand that? And a game like Gunnar, they should be really good. I think Kirby Smart gets back in it. I think he's certainly going to be in there. Zachariah Branch was one of the best wide receivers, freshman All-American guy. I think they're going to be winging the football all over the place. I think the Georgia Bulldogs will certainly be one of those top 5 teams.
They've got Dylan Bell back this year. They've got Zachariah Branch. They've got Noah Thomas, who was the top receiver at Texas A&M. They have loaded up the receiver corps after a disastrous year last year. Carson Beck was shaky, but the receivers were worse. They dropped a lot of balls and really hampered the entire season. Georgia's kind of not being considered as the elite team that they've been the last 4 years. A lot of people think the talent has dropped off, but Gunnar Stockton has set every high school record in Georgia. This is a guy that's been waiting to play, would not go or consider going anywhere else. I think he's going to lead them to the promised land. I got Georgia going too.
Got a couple minutes left. Give me your last 2.
And this was going to shock you also. I have the Florida Gators dominating the Georgia Bulldogs
guarantee.
this year. As a guarantee. DJ Lagway is the next Michael Vick of college football. Florida blows up. Sunbelt Billy's job is saved. And we watch the Georgia Bulldogs so-called dynasty begin to crumble, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, you ready for this bad boy? South Carolina has won 8 games, only 16 times, and it's a 131-year career. Only twice have they improved on that 8-win season. This is going to be year number 3. Lavorius Sellers, quarterback. It's going to be unbelievable. The schedule's not that hard. They got Alabama at home. They got Clemson at home. Shane Beamer-Beaverall is back. He was 9-4 last season. That schedule is absolutely a joke. I mean, it is so. They have South Carolina State, Vandy, Missouri, Kentucky. It's the first 4 games. They're all at home.
Yep.
At LSU, Oklahoma, and Alabama at home. On the road, Ole Miss, Clemson at home. Like South Carolina, I really believe. I mean, they were one step away from making the playoffs last year. South Carolina Gamecocks.
They were
a
right.
playoff team.
They were right there.
I'm going to Gamecocks. Go ahead.
Well, I love the SEC flavor of this because I'm going to add to that. I've already got Georgia and Texas. Roll Tide. They're going to roll into the playoffs. I love the schedule this year. They don't have very many high-octane stress tests on the road. They're pretty much invulnerable at home. I like it. I like the Tide. I think 3 SEC teams are in.
There you go. Good idea of our 15 teams along with cases. You get an idea of what's going on. We're going to go back and look at this in about 8-9 months.
You're either going to say these guys are geniuses or they're...
And I want you to remember Florida. I want you to remember Florida. You remember South Carolina. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, this is going to be fantastic. This time back in the cave with a legend. Thank you so much for having us in.
Welcome, welcome.
We were having a great conversation about a top 5 teams. We said are dead balls. They're in the playoffs. This is it. And people are like, well, that shouldn't be too hard. I got news for you. You look at the schedules, and some of these teams are going to be really difficult.
Yeah.
We've already given you 4 of them. I'm giving you my 5. You still have 1 left, and you still have 1 left. What you guys your last one?
You know, I hate to say this because I'm not crazy about the team, but the schedule is so pathetic. You had to put Penn State, I think, as a lock in this playoff. I don't think they'll win it because Tony Franklin's never won anything in his life, but I think they're definitely a lock. Also, look out for Michigan. They have the weakest schedule I've ever seen.
It's pretty bad.
Well, your last one.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State, Ohio State, it's a toss-up. I think one of them is going to have some disappointing losses. I don't know which one's going to rise to the top. I suspect it's going to be James Franklin, the usual suspect. You know, I got to hold my nose when I do this because I am not a Buckeye fan.
No.
But Ohio State, I think, will weasel their way into the playoffs like they always do. The Big Ten fans love me because I'm so glowing with praise about their teams. I think Penn State's going to run into a couple of bobbles. And I want to point out one other thing, you guys. Legend mentioned it. Miami, kind of a sleeping giant down there. You know who their first game is against? Notre Dame comes to Miami in the opening week. And everybody's touting Notre Dame. Guys, Notre Dame's first 2 games at Miami and then home against Texas A&M.
Wow.
And later on in the year, they host Boise State. Now, you'd say, well, they should beat them at home. But, you know, Boise State's not a walkover. And they also have USC coming in, and Lincoln Riley's been buying players right and left. So I think Notre Dame is going to be, if we're going to go for a non-playoff bust, I don't think the Irish are back this year.
Coach Free has done a fantastic job down there. And of course, a lot of people are up there depending on where you're coming from. A lot of people talked about just the fact that he's brought back that Notre Dame winning feeling. He just has a totally different feeling than what Brian brought in. So it's going to be really interesting. Who do you have? You had your 5th and final one?
Yeah, I went Penn State. I also said look out for Michigan due to the just pathetic. The Big Ten should never tell the SEC to have 9 conference games when your schedules are so pathetic. Boise State could go undefeated with your schedule.
Our first game up here, the ABC and the SEC teaming up again this year. We're going to butt up right against at 10:30, 11 o'clock every Saturday morning right here on ABC 3340's The Starting Lineup. We can't wait.